How to Train Your Dragon was a hugely successful and all-around amazing movie made by Dreamworks Animation back in 2010. It takes place in the remote village of Berk, somewhere in the barbaric archipelago during the Age of the Vikings. We all know that, but where and when exactly is it? As a fan of Dreamworks, I have been a fan of the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, ever since I first saw it several years ago. However, I'm also a huge fan of knowing when and where things are. Probably not too much of a surprise if you watch my videos. And I don't really like stories that are completely vague in terms of time and date. Just something about me, I guess. It kind of makes me feel a bit lost. Fortunately, Dreamworks movies often make this easy. How to Train Your Dragon, being based on ancient Viking culture, could be based on many different time periods and in many different settings though. Remember, they moved to Canada and bought goods from China well before America made it cool. But there are some important factors to the franchise that can limit some of these factors and can hopefully give us at least some idea. For example, we already know it's somewhere in the North Atlantic, most likely the Northeastern Atlantic, cause Vikings. First, the time period. The Age of the Vikings is generally said to have gone from 793 AD to around the 11th century. However, 793 AD does not mark the founding of a central Viking civilization like 753 BC to Rome or 1776 to the United States. There was no central Viking civilization. It actually marks the raiding of the monastery of the island of Lindisfarne. This is the era when Vikings started to go on their famous raids, and started to explore strange new islands, seek out new life and new civilizations, boldly going where no European has gone before. They existed prior, but they limited themselves to Scandinavia because it was sustainable at the time. It has been stated that the Isle of Berk has been inhabited for hundreds of years, which could imply later on in the Age of Vikings. The 10th century might be a good estimate for the era, as it's early enough for the Norse religion to still be in practice,
oh my gods!
But late enough for Berk to have been settled for 300 years. Much of the technology they use, even without the help of dragons, is also pretty advanced, again suggesting high or late Middle Ages. So around 1,000 years ago, or the late 10th/early 11th century, is probably the best bet. Now we get to the question of just where the hell the place is. Fortunately, Hiccup gives us some details in the beginning.
This is Berk. It's 12 days north of Hopeless and a few degrees south of freezing to death.
Alright, you got anything more specific about that?
It's located solidly on the Meridian of Misery.
Okay, the Meridian of Misery, that's... Wait, where the f*** is that? So, obviously it's pretty much anywhere in the northernmost parts of the Atlantic. So, we need to go with some clues. First, it's definitely not on mainland Europe, Britain, Greenland, or Newfoundland and Labrador, as they aren't small islands in the middle of nowhere, though England does love to pretend it is. Probably the best place to look for the barbaric archipelago would be either the Faroe, Orkney, or Shetland Islands, all just north of Scotland. These areas, though they have little resemblance to the cliff-faced islands in the franchise, are archipelagos in somewhat remote locations where the weather is apparently not freeze-to-death cold enough to wear sleeves. The Shetland Islands seems particularly promising because not only is it remote, it's also under Scottish jurisdiction. This is important because, well, I mean, think about it, their chief, Stoic the Vast, is played by Gerard Butler, who we all know is from Sparta's Little Scotland district. And this could explain why all the other adults speak more of a Scottish dialect sometimes.
What are you doing here? Get inside!
Why not the kids? Well, that would actually make a great future video. The setting of the How to Train Your Dragon franchise really hints more at Viking Scotland than Scandinavia proper. Even the wiki agrees. Now, to be clear, that's Viking Scotland, not Scotland. Of course, this is all just speculation based on historical facts imposed on a kids movie where the Viking characters have horned helmets and dragons exist. The islands and the clusters, of course, once again don't resemble the cliff-faced islands of the barbaric archipelago. Okay, some of them do. But do they have to? No. Especially since we're not trying to find just where every single island is. Besides, you'll understand how much detail they put into the franchise, especially if you've seen the sequel in the Netflix shows. Like me. I've seen them. They're pretty good. So that's what I'm going with, I guess. The Shetland Islands in the year 1010 or 1015 for the sequel. Is this answer definitive though? Hell no. This is just a rough estimate and it's completely debatable. It's just a theory. Of films. Wait, no, that's not ours. Sorry. Thank you for watching this video. I've been wanting to do something like this for a while now, so please be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more in the future, and maybe I'll make another one of these for movies like Kung Fu Panda, maybe. We'll see. Either way, see you next Sunday, definitely with another video.